So today we're going over module 12 still. So it's using similar triangles. So objective is students will understand the side proportions and their applications to similar triangles. So we're going to example 1. Here we want to construct a mid-segment parallel to AC. So the way we do that is we first start off by, so we want it to be parallel to AC. So we're going to be parallel to this segment that they tell us here. So the way we do this is we find the midpoints. So if you look on BC here, we kind of find a midpoint. And if you look at AB here, you sort of find the midpoint. And once you find the two midpoints, we just connect the 2 points, and that makes our mid-segment. So we're going to call them different letters. So we're going to say this is point D and E. So this right here is the mid-segment. And what we say here is we say that AC is 2 times DE. Just remember, if we go from here this way, we multiply by 2. And if you go from here this way, we divide by 2. Okay, example 2, construct a mid-segment parallel to YZ. So again, YZ is this segment right here. So what we do first is we find the midpoints. So midpoint between XZ. So here, if I estimate, it's going to be about here. So that's a midpoint. And if I look over here, it's about there. It's another midpoint. So you just call them any letters you want. So X, Y, Z. I'll call this one W. And then let's say T. So when I line here, so I'm gonna say that YZ is equal to 2 times WT. Another thing you want to do here is I'm going to put little lines here, arrows, to say, remember this here means parallel. Or we could also write it out like this. You could say WT parallel to YZ. And again, remember this means parallel. Let's go over one more. So I'm going to be parallel to GT. So GT is right here. So parallel to that, so we go find our midpoint. So midpoint on TH would be somewhere in here. Change the color. In here, so there's the midpoint. And on GH, so midpoint's about right here. And again, we connect segments, and that's their parallel. So again, we're going to say that GT is 2 times, again, I'm going to call this one, and let's say C, just say CM. is equal to 2 times C. And again, put the parallel signs. You also say GT parallel to C. Here, we're going to complete the following proportions. So let's first of all, let's figure out what parts go together. So my highlighter. So I know that this part goes together. And this segment go together. And the whole segment goes with the whole segment over here. So in this case over here, AD is blue. So on this I'm going to put AE. DB is the bottom part. So that means it goes with AC, and I just put all over that. Okay. So on this one, AB is the whole segment, which is AC. And AD is the top part, which goes with AE. So over here, AB would go with AC. DB goes with EC. Over here, AD, the top part, so AE. AB is the whole part, so AC. Example 5. So here, AQ goes with AP. QC, bottom part over here, goes with PB. Okay. AC is the whole segment, which means it's the whole segment here is AB. AQ is the top, so the top part here is AP. Over here, AQ is the top part, so AP. AC is the whole, so the whole part over here is AB. Like here, AC, whole thing. Oh, AC. And then QC is the bottom part, so PB. Okay, so here it says a 5-foot tall person casts a 3-foot shadow. The flagpole casts a 10-foot shadow. Write a proportion to solve for the height of the flagpole. So here, it's a few things you want to figure out. Is we have, there's a 5-foot tall person. So that means that this is 5. Cast a 3-foot shadow, which means that 3 feet right there. And it says the flagpole cast a 10-foot shadow. It says write a proportion to solve for the height of the flagpole. So we don't know how tall the flagpole is. So the way we set up a proportion here is we do this. So X goes with 5. So we go X over 5 equals plus 10 over 3. So that's one way of writing it, or we could also say this, or X over 10 equals 5 over 3. These are two ways of writing it. So that's really all we need to do. Just set up the proportion. Okay, example 7 says a 6-foot tall person. So 6 foot tall, so that means the person is 6 feet. They cast a 2 feet shadow. And it says a palm tree casts a 15-foot shadow. right proportion, solve for the height of the flagpole. So flagpole here is X for the palm tree. Okay, and now we set up a proportion here. So the two ways you can write it out. Okay, so we start with X, the 6. So we go X over 6 equals 15 over 2. Or we could also put X over 15 equals 6 over 2. That's all we have to set up right there. All right, example 8. So it says we want to solve for, so it tells you dB 3.5. So right here, 3.5. So it says AB is 12. So from here to here is 12. So we're going to find the length of CB. So this is X. So if we set this up, is you put CB over DB equals AB over CB. Okay, so here CB is X, so we put X over 3.5 equals 12 over X. And then we cross multiply right here. So we take X times X, X squared, and then we take 12 times 3.5. That gives us 42. Then I take the square root of 42. So here I get X equals square root of 42. And if I find that value, this gives me about 6.48. Okay, so let's start another one here. So here RQ is 7. So from here is 7. RS is 1.5. I'm going to solve for the length of RP, so we're looking for this side. So what we do here is, again, I take RP over RS equals RQ over RP. And again, RP is X. So I say X over 1.5 equals 7 over X. Then I cross multiply right here. So X times X is X squared. And I take 1.5 times 7. And that gives me 10.5. Then I take the square root of both sides. So I get X equals square root of 10.5, which is about 3.24. Okay, now number 10 says write out the similarity statements for the sides of the three triangles. So right here, these are three triangles. So I start off with the smallest one. So this one right here, there's a 90. So I'll put the 90 right here. So I have C, B, and an E up here. Okay, now I go with the medium triangle, which is this one right here, 90 degree. This is C, this is E, and this is D up here. Now I go with the big triangle, which is the whole thing right there. So 90 is right here. So it's point E, point B, and then point D up here. So in the write the similarity statements, I'm going to say that so side EB, EB is similar to DE, similar to DB. Okay, so those are those three sides. So it's this side, and that side. But the next sides you could say is the three bottom sides right here. So there I say BC, similar to EC, similar to BE. And then the last one, make this side, and this side are corresponding and similar. So here I'm going to say EC, similar to DC, similar to DE. Okay, so we're done with today's notes.